November, high on the cliffs of the fjord overlooking Hammerfest, the world's northernmost city. In a few minutes, it will be noon. The Arctic sun barely skims the horizon. Soon, it will set for the last time this year and won't rise again until late January. The next 2 months will be pitch black, day in, day out. The city nestled in the fjords sinks into darkness. The last rays of light dim over the gas-rich island of Melkoja, an Arctic Circle treasure house. It's a straight shot from here to the North Pole. The area's gas fields are a viable alternative to Russia's. All of Europe envies Finnmark, Norway's northernmost county, and one of the world's richest regions in the world's richest country. Not quite 2 p.m., night eternal has fallen. We head across the bay to Andy Sombi's house. Sombi is a lawyer and a member of one of the Great North's minority groups, the Sami.
My people are the Sami people. And our presence here is very long presence. And we live in the northern part of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. We have a common language, and we have been living as Arctic people, as an Arctic people, hunting sea mammals, doing reindeer herding, Arctic farming, and also gathering. And our subsistence has been based on that. So here we have been living for long, long times in this strange world that sometimes have the day that never ends or the night that never ends. It's very important for our cosmology, light, because light carries so much information here. It's so dramatic. For example, now when we have the skapma, the blue time, some call it the dark time. It's a very dramatic human experience. So for us, this time is a very sacred time. It's a time of meditation. We used to say that this time when the sun is under the horizon, it is the time of thoughts. You have to think on existential things, on practical things, on what you are going to do with your life, what you have done with your life so far. My hero in that respect is a bird that is called the grosbird. During wintertime, it's white as the snow, and that is a very amazing thing to be in the same rhythm as the nature. And I can even yoik this bird, the grosbird. Beo, kabeo, kabeo, beo, kabeo, kabeo, real sahai, oh no 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 no.
An odd character welcoming these dark hours. It would be tempting now to return to southern Europe and wait things out in a land where winter nights last no more than 12 hours. Wait it out and return in early January. A tad south of Hammerfest, in the city of Tromsø, Finnmark's administrative center, population 100,000. They're in their 45th day of the dark season. One wonders how any civilization could spring up where there is so little light. Early in the morning, on the edge of the city. Anywhere else you would see signs of dawn breaking. Here, nothing will change. It will still be night. Night leading into night. It's disconcerting. Many claim that it can cause mentally unstable people to lose their points of reference and slip into psychosis. How do you anchor yourself to reality in perpetual darkness? Do you check the clock frequently to stay moored? Or do you simply let go, and go with the flow.
Yeah, we are living beyond the Arctic Circle, that's for sure. And there is a certain variety of climate attached to living here. And we may call it a little bit extreme at times. Some people may also actually call it exotic. When I ask people what is exotic about northern Norway, it's particularly the light. But we try to socialize, we try to focus on other things, and we get through the dark season as well. Tromsø is somewhat unique in the northern part of Norway because it is somewhat also an international city. And it has long traditions for being open towards the world, not only open towards the Arctic as a gateway to the Arctic, but actually in the 1840s it was called La Paris du Nord, the Paris of the North, because here people picked up fashions from abroad and just were walking in the streets as if they were in Paris, so to say. It's a vibrant city up in the north. I think we shall not pathologize living up in the northern part of Norway, even though there might be some sleep disturbances, even though loss of energy, even though you'll feel that okay, the dark season lasts long enough. Adaptation is very important. We have developed coping skills to live here, otherwise we'll have to live somewhere else.
Dr. Kai Krogh is one of the world's leading experts in psychoses and traumas of all sorts. As a social psychologist, he rejects the notion light-deprived Arctic regions favor mental illness. Most people get along quite well here, he says. Nevertheless, the city of Tromsø is home to the largest psychiatric research center and hospital in Northern Europe. This is where we met Lise, a regular. She doesn't fare well during the dark season. Her psychiatrist, Dr. Vij Hansen, also questions the widespread idea of seasonal depression.
Plutselig i 1985 så får vi servert en artikkel fra Washington som ligger like langt siden som Roma, som forteller oss at man blir deprimert når det er lite lys om vinteren. Og det finner vi ganske overraskende, for jeg har jobbet her i over 30 år, og vi har ikke sett at det er noe mer depresjoner om vinteren enn det ellers er. Kommer det da noen eksperter og sier at ja, det er antagelig vinterdepresjon, så får de noe å knytte dette til. Men det er jo dette med medikalisering, som vi er ganske opptatt av. At vi gjør vanlige forekommende problemer til en sykdom. Og jeg er opptatt av at vi ikke skal sykeliggjøre hvordan vi har det her i Nord-Norge. Det synes jeg faktisk er ganske viktig, at folk ikke skal begynne å innbille seg at de blir syke av mørkeriden. Nei. Vi som jobber i felten, hverken allmennpraktikere eller psykiatere, har lagt merke til at det er noe mer depresjon om vinteren enn ellers. Faktisk mest depresjon om vår og høst i vinteren. Teorien går ut på at, men det er veldig lett å lage teorier da, på funn, men teoriene går på at om høsten så går på en måte naturen i stå, ikke sant? Og den blir trist, og det øker din egen tristhet. Mens på våren er det omvendt. At når våren kommer og alt springer ut, ikke sant? Og fuglene synger og folk blir forelsket, så blir det en større kontrast mellom det som er rundt deg, og hvordan du selv har det. Så det blir mer deprimert av ikke å kunne følge med. Slik at de som kommer hit og er deprimert, de kommer med veldig dype depresjoner. Det kan være folk som ikke har spist på ukesvis, som innbiller seg at de har skylden for ting de overhodet ikke har skylden for. Altså, det er en psykotisk depresjon, som vi sier. Eller svært mange kommer fordi de har forsøkt å ta livet av seg, eller tenker på å ta livet av seg. De blir lagt inn for å hindre det å ta livet av seg.
Det er tøffe ting.
Ja, det er det. Det er veldig alvorlige ting vi arbeider med her.
Jeg håper jo at jeg aldri skal bli så syk.
Ja, det vil jeg også.
As a psychiatrist, he doesn't think that the unending night here is a cause of depression. In his opinion, the matter is more nuanced than others claim. But reading between the lines, this universe of violently bipolar seasons might not be the ideal antidepressant.
Je suis très, très fatigué dans le matin. Il faut que je ouvrir ici à 8 heures. Malheureusement, je n'ouvre pas plus de 10 heures parce que je ne peux pas. C'est très dur de se lever plus tôt dans ce climat-là. Alors tu dors beaucoup. Et dans l'été, tu dors un petit peu. C'est comme la vie d'un animal. Je ne sais pas comment ça s'appelle. Il y a une période qu'il dort beaucoup, il y a une période qu'il est... C'est pas... Quand j'étais arrivé ici en 1991, j'ai pensé la Norvège comme l'Amérique, les États-Unis. Des habitements très hauts, beaucoup de circulation, comme les films. Quand j'étais arrivé ici, j'étais très choqué. Tu peux penser à un homme qui vient du Maroc avec un merveilleux climat, le soleil. Alors pour venir ici, j'ai vraiment pleuré. J'ai senti beaucoup de, comment ça s'appelle, la dépression. Cet pays, c'est peut-être le premier pays dans le monde dans la suicide. Tu sais ce que ça veut dire la suicide?
I don't know so much about it, but of course the police in Tromsø have to deal with people that want to take their lives. And for many years we have a situation on the bridge from Tromsø Island over to the other side. People go to the bridge and jump over, and we have many people that have lost their lives. I think it's has something to do with the drug abuses. We also have a bridge from Tromsø to another island, and also from that bridge we had experience with that kind of situation.
The environment here won't recharge your batteries if they are low and you're frail. It's nearly 11 a.m. and still not a single photon to be absorbed by the eye. Not the slightest particle of natural light. Standing on street corners, our eyes search for clocks. We check our watches for the 10th time in an hour just to be sure we're not in a dream. Young cyclists race through the streets of Tromsø and the longest night on the planet. There is a festive ambiance in the streets. They don't seem to have problems adapting. In the land of Alice and the Mad Hatter, you're better off keeping a clear mind, sleeping during standard hours only, and not having any psychiatric background. The place seems to have more folks with suicidal tendencies than any other place on Earth. We head to the University of Tromsø, pride and joy of the county of Finnmark. Its School of Biology has a solid reputation. One of the school's biochemists is conducting advanced research on how people adapt to extreme environments. Despite a rare genetic skin disease, he is fighting the long night with scientific weapons. He is both the researcher and the guinea pig.
When I came here the first time from southern Norway, I moved to Tromsø in 1972, my imagination out of the darkness was that I could work all the time, even late at night and at night even. But realized soon that I didn't function very well, and I said I could go hibernating instead because I was very sleepy all the time. Then after 2 years I had the opportunity to go back to Los Angeles, where I had been working for 3 years before, and I realized that I had no problems going back into the Southern California and live there with the normal light and normal darkness. And after 4 years, I was coming back to Tromsø and got the same problems. So 5 years ago, I bought this special lamp with 10,000 lux, and I used it only for a short time in the morning at the beginning. But now I am using it the whole day, and it keeps me awake. If I hadn't, I think I would have to move to some. Many people say that there's no problem to live in Tromsø, but I think for few people there is a problem. It's called the SAD syndrome. seasonal affecting disorder. In my opinion, this is caused by too high production of melatonin because we don't get normal light in the daytime. You need melatonin to adjust your biorhythm because we see that in a lot of people during the darkness, they get very confused by sleeping behavior. They sleep during the day and stay awake at night.
Melatonin, he adds, is a sleep hormone that is secreted by the pineal gland, located in the center of the brain when night falls. This hormone regulates our waking and sleeping cycles in a normal 24-hour period. In the long Arctic night, melatonin is produced round the clock and can disrupt normal sleep patterns. Some people experience a permanent sense of jet lag. Social psychologist Kai Krog points to the delicate balance of sleep patterns in this sort of environment.
If we look at the sleep is an important part of many, not to say most, of psychological psychiatric disorders. So let's say that one starts to lose sleep. That can be the entrance to some other developments if one is vulnerable in advance. I know of one specific case very recently. An elderly woman got up in the night to go to the bank, and when she came to the bank it was closed, and it turned out it wasn't 2 o'clock during the day, it was 2 o'clock at night, and she realized she had mistaken the day and the night.
I really like this place. You know, it's like being in southern Italy or Portugal, or I can almost imagine that there is a swimming pool down here that I could throw stones. I can almost hear the sound of it. You can hardly imagine that it's the North Pole outside. And it looks like this, so cozy and nice inside. It might be late already. A lot of people already have their dinner. It's probably time I go and pick up my daughter. Ah, no. Huh. Strange. Strange.
You check your watch twice just to be sure that it's not 7 in the morning when this deceptive dawn glows over the horizon. Living in this upside-down world can give you a headache. Starting in mid-January, there's a respite. Fleeting but significant. Around noon, there are a few blue hours, 2 hours of pseudo-daylight, Arctic hues. But dawn is too soon chased by dusk. We're back to black again. Who could refuse a few photons? You do, however, need to remind yourself that it's time for the midday meal and not time for a midnight snack. Adding to the confusion, the weather can switch from snowfall to quasi-stratospheric clear skies in mere minutes. The city lies at the tail end of the Gulf Stream. This explains the fickle climate and the relatively warm temperatures. A nearly temperate microclimate a few hundred miles from the North Pole. Nothing is really normal here.
Rise with the sun, rise with the sun, morning's the day. Rise with the sun,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hengekøye 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Esel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hengekøye 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Midnattssol 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hva er du, Tanja?
Snorlig.
Solstråler!
You don't always know what time it is today because it's dark all the time. And in the summer it's light all day. And, yeah, and you think when it's midnight, you think, oh, it's 4 o'clock or
kind of lose your track of time.
yes,
Yeah.
I think it's something we just accept that, yeah, you get tired from time to time, but that's at least how I cope with it. I just kind of accept, yeah, I'm gonna be tired today, but I'll just have to try and stay awake and get through the day, then I can sleep tonight and hopefully won't be so tired tomorrow. But, yeah.
Actually, once when I had a French class, I fell asleep so much that the teacher asked me to leave. So it was like, yeah, okay. She said I could sleep outside in the hallway or something instead of sleeping in the class. It's just.
It's just so exhausting, even at work, after school, and you're like, that's, yeah. So when you get home from school or work, so then you go to sleep then, and then you wake up 10 o'clock in the evening, and then you're like, oh, I'm awake. And then you don't get any sleep that night, so that's kind of exhausting.
You have to use your spare time. Actually, also at a time I wanted to try to stay awake more because it's like, how was it? 8 out of 10 part of your life you're sleeping. You're awake. So that 2/10 of your life you're sleeping, and it's like 20 years if you live in 100 years. So it's a lot of time gone to waste.
You've done your mathematics.
Yes.
Proverbial Scandinavian conviviality does indeed chase the winter blues away. Group participation helps you keep your bearings. It stimulates the brain and warms the soul. In any case, it's better to stick to a regular schedule. This far north, it's a matter of survival.
If I can only not think about anything, then it feels as if I'm okay. I'm afraid I will feel a lot worse if I try to do something. It's snowing again, diaphanous light, and yet the city is animated, modern, Western, up to date. The combat against the never-ending night is one with joie de vivre, a miracle of adaptation.
Nevertheless, Tromsø is home to Northern Europe's biggest psychiatric hospital. The long, dark winter is anything but beneficial to patients here. They hail from all parts of the Arctic Circle: Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. They stay for varying lengths of time. It remains to be seen if walking this kilometer-long corridor helps restore mental health.
Jeg ble jo skikkelig syk. Jeg merket det ikke da, men de andre merket det på meg på jobb. At jeg var veldig aktiv og høyt oppe, og jeg ble jo veldig ukritisk og gjorde ting som jeg angrer på i ettertid. Det kom sånne der, jeg flyttet veldig mye fra plass til plass, fordi at vi fant ikke ro noen plass, jeg og ungene. Og så sa det bare pang en dag.
In this subarctic area, the sun is away 2 months during the winter, and some people, they think this is just okay, it's fine. They appreciate the nature, beautiful differences in the seasons. Some people, they think this is too bad. Maybe 10% have insomniac problems, and if they also have a sort of depressive vulnerability, I think some of them also can develop depressive symptoms, almost suicidal.
Så etter hvert så innså du at her trengte du hjelp til å...
Ja, og det var vel for alvor da at jeg kom inn hit.
Ja.
Første gangen.
Ja.
You have the rhythm master clock in the brain trying to coordinate different bodily rhythms. Because human beings are daytime people, yes. We are not rats.
Har du noen tanke om det, at hvordan det å bo her så høyt oppe i nord har påvirket sykdommen din? Tenker du at det har noen betydning?
Det er jo lettere å bli deprimert, og da er det om å gjøre å lage faste rutiner. Når det er mørketid. For hvis du bare lar det flyte helt ut, så kan du jo ligge og sove hele dagen. Nei, så jeg står opp til fast tid, og sitter med lysbehandling, og går tur hver dag, og prøver å være aktiv og gjøre ting, for det om man er trøtt. Men også prioriterer jeg veldig det å komme meg ut.
Soving og sånn?
Ja, men nå tar jeg, som jeg sa i sted, så tar jeg jo sovetablett. Fordi at jeg er blitt så redd for å bli manisk.
Ja.
Hvis jeg ikke sover.
Og det er viktig å sove.
Some people are hyposensitive because maybe their threshold for registering light and use light as an entrainment, time cue mechanism is not so good as other people. And maybe that could be genetic, and we have to find out this in a bigger research now. We will try to do in Tromsø. And we also have now the ability to maybe compare some of our data with research groups in Southern Europe. So we can see if the population living on different locations are different. We are living in a research laboratory. We have the northern area development with oil, gas out in the sea, people with shift work, and we know that they maybe come from other countries. How will they react?
Many people is coming to Tromsø, living here, mostly because of the undiscovered petroleum resources we think are outside the coast of the north of Norway.
Why you became the mayor of this city?
My work was as an engineer in the power plant company here in Tromsø. And then I was more and more interested in politics, national politics and local politics. The last 5 years, population is increasing with 800 to 1,000 inhabitants every year, and half of it is coming from abroad.
Finnmark has several good reasons to continue developing psychiatric research. Norway's gold rush has begun. Soon there will be thousands more coming to get rich in the long, dark winter. It's best to help them keep cool heads.
When we are working, then we have 24 hours duty. You have a lot of power, so you can make a lot of damage if you don't know what you are doing.
The time is a little bit dark, but it's the best place on earth.
Is it good money to work here?
No answer.
Luckily, not everyone in Finnmark pilots a supertanker or has a job requiring unflagging productivity. Sleepy-eyed Tromsø municipal councillors are in their weekly meeting.
Så det den situasjonen, jeg tar det opp før møtet Portugal, den situasjonen som vi oppe I med vår vennskapsby Gaza. Så her altså en todelt sak. Det en kraftig uttalelse I forhold til de krigshandlingene og bekymringer vår for den humanitære situasjonen, og det også en bevilgning I aksjonen.
Norway's northernmost decentralized county wants to make its voice heard. As they coordinate with the diplomatic office in Oslo, they drink cup after cup of coffee to stave off the rush of melatonin and learn to accept their biorhythms as a regional specificity.
There's a certain slack in the system in the winter time, so productivity is not as highly valued as it is the rest of the year. But life goes on. We just keep the daily routines and we go to work and it's dark, and we leave work and it's dark. And I can contrast that at workplaces where the professional roles strips you a little bit of your individual characteristics. In California, I was wearing a white shirt and a tie every day. I should behave like a doctor. I should never display any exaggerated emotion, or I should always have an answer to everything. I came back to Norway and I can be myself. So it doesn't mean that one loses the professional piece of it, but I feel that it's adding the who I am, and that is okay. And at the same time, the other side of the coin would be that we are all in this together, that we need to pull together to survive. So, and I know communities, small communities, farming communities, where they are very helpful towards each other. They check out each other's needs. In the winter time, they keep track of each other, and they balance that towards the autonomous aspects of living. You have your home, you have your family, you have everything, but I'll look after you to some degree to see that if there is anything you need, I will try to be there. So that is a fascinating aspect I find of coping and surviving.
Together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You decide.
People say, how can you grow things in a greenhouse in the north of Norway where you have no sun? Maybe like growing things on the moon. Of course can we do it in the north of Norway without the sun, because it's artificial environment in here. We can make it just what plants need. We live here way up north. We need to have the same kind of food that the rest of the country are in Europe. We also eat salad, and we also put herbs in our foods, so we need to make it up here, and it's nice work for our family and for some people around us. As far as we know, in Norway there are no other greenhouses growing this. I'm the one that grew up here. My husband, I imported him from south of Norway. So my father, he was the inventor in this garden nursery. He was an inventor for us to take over. So he's teaching us. Hilda, nå er det nok. Jeg tror så må du gå ut.
It's looking good.
How many are you to take care of your 17 maids?
Alt I alt, med kommunalt ansatte og skole og sånn, så vi godt over 100. Men de som tilsatt direkte av fengselet vel 73.
Jeg visste det. Jeg ventet på det.
Jeg har jobbet I fryktelig mange år og I veldig ulike typer fengsel. Og det jeg merket meg når jeg begynte ny her I Tromsø fengsel, det var den gode kommunikasjonen og samholdet faktisk mellom innsatte og ansatte. Altså I den grad det går an å si at det hyggelig å være I et fengsel, så synes jeg faktisk at det det I Tromsø. Vi har lite bråk, og både innsatte og ansatte framhever faktisk den gode relasjonen imellom. Kanskje det også har litt med kultur å gjøre. Og kanskje nettopp på grunn av mørketid og de her ekstreme værforholdene at vi holder mer sammen på et vis, og vi har masse humor, og vi leter etter positive ting I hverdagen I stedet for å fokusere på alt det triste, trasige, og ja, at det muligens ligger noe der.
Men vi ser jo at det på en måte det lange vintre, det mørkt, og det spesielt.
At vi finner overlevelsesmekanismer nettopp på grunn av klima.
I spent 5 years now in jail. I got 11 years for being a tourist guide in Holland. When you spend a long time in jail, you have time to reflect over life. But if you sit and focus on the situation here, which is fucked, you're gonna have problems because you're locked in a cage like an animal. Huh? And it's dark always outside, and in the worst months it's like 1 hour, a little bit grayish. The rest is black, pitch black.
It doesn't bother me because I've been working a lot as a fisherman, and then you're 6 hours at work, 6 hours asleep. And when I go to jail in the wintertime, it's sort of going fishing. You have to find the positivities in the time of the year. Beautiful light we have now, and northern lights, and you're always looking forward to springtime, and I think that's a good thing too.
But to live in an environment like this, there has to be something which keeps us, and for sure nature is the reason. River, clear mountain river, stand to here in the water, midnight sun, you drink from the water, you see the fish swim by your legs. But these memories of experience we had in nature, and of course the beautiful women we have here, is what keeps us going. Huh? And it's fucking, otherwise what you have, you're in a rich country, you have content. That's nothing. What a life. A4, what is that? Boring, huh? Very boring.
Ja, nei, jeg ble helt satt ut. Det var så tom luft her inne at det noe feil med ventilasjonsanlegget også. Det ikke oppe og går, for det skal være liv her.
Adventurer.
I think to understand northern Norway, one has to understand the dichotomy between autonomy, my hill, my mountain, the feeling of that one has nature and you has availability, it's not crowded. When you are on the mountaintop and you see nobody, that might fill you with happiness. And at the same time, we realize that we are all in the same boat. We become who we are in interaction with the environment we live in and the communities that we are part of, informing the rules of socializing, informing how we view the world and how life should be. So I think the different communities develop different coping skills.
Tromsø, a city on the edge of the world. A human community, a culture, a specific worldview, a world in itself. A civilization on the scale of a small city. Darkness is its natural border, a micro-civilization, in any case, a rarity.
Are you going to like it?
Mm-hmm.
Hallo! Hei! Hei! Så hvordan tror du det blir å jobbe her, da?
Fantastisk.
Ja.
Er de lysene alltid på?
Nei, rosen må ha natt også om vinteren, så de får natt i 6 timer. Hva du tror om den jeg gikk forbi?
Jeg er i tvil om den, for den hadde ikke så stort hode, men den var lang.
Og det der var kjempebra klipp. Og sånn klarer du å legge de andre.
Now it's time for us to go back to Hammerfest, the small city nestled in the fjords, a city with gas fields, the city where the Sami live. Come January 21st, around 12 noon, the sun will rise over the horizon for the first time in more than 60 days. Here in the far north, it's celebrated as a celestial event.
Now we come to the point where you can see the sun for first time. Just here, you know. And now we get the Melkøya LNG plant in the back. And then approaching the Hammerfest city, the northernmost city of the world. In 1897, there was a steamship on the harbor. It was December and it was the dark period of the year. And then this steamer ship were testing the electricity lights, and then the whole harbor was lighted up, you know. And the population thought this is marvelous. We have to get this lighting in our town. In the summertime, they decided to make an official letter to the mayor of the city that says that we won't accept one more winter without light in the street and in the houses. And then they built a water gate and a water turbine. So they got electricity for the streets and for the house all the winter. And in fact, Hammerfest was the first city in North Europe that had electricity streetlights. The symbol of this is the northern wind. It's windy, yeah. And this is the symbol of the sun. Ja, I dag kommer sola, ja. Ja. Der på fjellet nå, ser dere? Der sola. Hæ?
Hvor sola?
Ser du ikke opp på fjellet der? Der det sånn rødt. Der sola nå. Hæ?
1, 2, 3. Og Mariana her, og Slukketralle her. Vi glad for at Pia her. I vår lille flokk har vi humla her I dag. Og de voksne her, det bra. Sola, ja. Ser vi sola nå? Nei. På fjellene? Ja. Hva som skjer der borte? Sola kommer der. Ja.
So how does it feel to see the sun after this long to see the sun?
Yeah, it's great. I haven't seen the sun since November, so it's a good sighting to see the sun, of course.
You've been living in Hammerfest for a long time?
Born and raised in Hammerfest. In the summertime, it's the midnight sun. The sun is in June. It's up all time. It rises from the east, goes high and sinks back again and starts again. Then you got the sunlight all time. It's the greatest time.
What is there?
North? The Santa Claus. To the North Pole.
What time is it?
$1,400. It's getting darker now.